There we go. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are back.
Yes, we are.
Season preview, Breakaway Bandits podcast, part of the Sports Insanity Network. Mike and Nate with you. Moser, it's been a long off season.
It has a very eventful off season.
Yeah, we saw a lot of changes. There's a new captain in Tampa Bay.
There is.
As Steven Stamkos left.
And that's the whole thing. Steven Stamkos left. I don't know. I after everything that happened in 2016, I don't think I believed that was going to happen this time around. Even with the frustrations that I think he had some frustrations with Tampa's side about the contract, I think, if I remember correctly, because I think he was interviewed about it almost a year ago. Apologize if I'm misremembering that information, but I never thought he was going to leave Tampa, and then he did. And that's still I saw his picture with the Predators, just his team picture, and that's never I'm sure that will eventually look more normal, but yeah, right now that looks a little it's different. He looks good. He looks good in the Preds colors, but
as long as he stays healthy, that's all that matters. So we got that.
They had quite the off season.
They had a great off season. We've got new coaches in new places, and the Washington Capitals got a new guy on their beat.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did. So I am covering the Washington Capitals for Washington Hockey Now. You can check out the website, WashingtonHockeyNow.com, just to see all the different articles that I'm coming out with. We do Hockey Now headlines too. That just came out today. So that covers links by my colleagues. There's Colorado Hockey Now, Buffalo Hockey Now, Boston Hockey Now, all different kinds of sites with our network that we do over there. Come stop by. We're on Facebook. Washington Hockey Now is on Facebook. It's on Twitter, X, that whole thing. It's
on the Musk website.
You can talk hockey with me on Twitter and Facebook as well. Always appreciate talking hockey. So, but yeah, I'll be the new Washington Hockey Now beat writer for covering the Caps. I also just had an article come out the other day about the goaltending battle, which has since been updated as Hunter Shepard is going down to he's been waived today, and he'll be going down to the Hershey Bears. So we have our goaltenders for the Caps. That's going to be Logan Thompson and Charlie Lindgren. And
better known as Ryan's brother.
Huh?
Better known as Ryan's brother.
For now. It's hard to argue that after the playoff series last year, but it's the Caps had quite the offseason too, and we can talk about that too.
We will definitely dive into everything in the offseason.
One last shameless plug. You can also check all my articles where I covered all of this stuff in the offseason for them as well. So Washington Hockey Now, you can go check us out.
Just to keep shameless plugs going, you can also follow the podcast on Twitter at SIM Breakaway. Follow the network at S Insanity Real. We will follow up these cheap plugs at the end of the show as well.
And also, using no, this isn't a shameless plug this time. I'm actually I'm using a new mic, so it's a Blue Yeti. So just we'll see. This is hopefully everything. Mike, you thought everything sounded fine.
Yeah. If things don't sound normal, let us know.
Yeah. So
the Blue Yeti, also the next name of the Utah Hockey Club. So
the Blue Yeti, yeah. That's all right. We can get into.
So as we mentioned, this is season preview. Season's technically started. We're 2 games in. There were 2 games over in Prague, which saw the usual suspect, the Sabres losing both games to the New Jersey Devils. Way to restart the Lindy Ruff era there, man.
It's a tough
But
one for sure.
as Nate mentioned, we're going to do a preview. We're just going to give division predictions, and then we'll give you our Stanley Cup final prediction and who hoists it at the end. And then once the season gets going, we will try to come out with as many as we can in of this show. But Nate, let's start where the defending Stanley Cup champions reside, and that's the Atlantic Division. So how do we have the Atlantic playing out?
So, do we want to do? How do we want to do it? Do we want to do like 8? Like we can start with the bottom and then we'll just go up.
Yeah, start it from the bottom, then go
Then
to the
we'll get.
top,
Then
just
we'll
like
get.
Drake.
Then we'll get there. Then we'll eventually get there.
Exactly, just like Drake.
All right. So for my number 8 team at the bottom of the Atlantic Division, and Noah's not here to argue with me about this. Uh, but he's here in spirit, and I know, and I'm curious what he'll think when he listens to this. But I have the Montreal Canadiens last. After the Sabres' performance, the first couple games over in Prague, it's who knows if they don't improve things, they might find themselves at the bottom themselves. But
if they find themselves at the bottom, your guy Kevin Adams is out of a job, right?
I've seen Buffalo media say that there's no way Kevin Adams is getting fired after the season. Like maybe they'll take him out of the GM role, but maybe they'll make him like president of hockey operations or something. And then they'll like get a different GM or something, but they don't want to, it sounds like they don't want to get rid of him at this point. This is just from like Buffalo news people and just different Buffalo members, from what I've seen on Twitter. It doesn't sound promising, but at the same time, I see national media saying like Sabres can't afford to miss the playoffs this year, or it's going to be like a fire sale. But it's just, how many fire sales are you going to do? I mean, how many? We're rebuilding the rebuild at this point. I mean,
exactly.
It's
rebuilding. It's gotten so bad. They got the guy who started the rebuild back as their head coach.
I mean, and the thing is that like I was never against them bringing Lindy Ruff back. I kind of thought he was like the best option.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is that obviously he last coached the team 11 years ago. He has changed as a head coach. The Sabres have changed as a team since he was last the head coach. And he's seen how things are completely different. I mean, the only player that he coached the first time around that was still there that left in the offseason was Girgensons. Girgensons' rookie season was 2011, 2012. No, I take that back. It was 2012, 2013 because he was in the 2012 draft. So he
was also an all-star one year.
But yeah, so he was a rookie. He only played like a certain amount of games, and then that was the lockout shortened season was 2012, 2013. And then Lindy Ruff was fired after a certain amount of games, and then that's when they brought Ron Rolston in. And it's just
it's a blast from the past. Ron Rolston.
It's been a coaching carousel ever since then. But I'm curious to see. I mean, I not to go off too much on a tangent here, but I know that Lindy Ruff was like making them do push-ups, and like when they were going offside, he was having them do like skates and different things like that. Like he was kind of during training camp, like he wasn't accepting what they were doing,
So this sounds like Herb Brooks and Miracle.
I mean, like I heard that was kind of what Lindy Ruff was the first time around, like when he first was the head coach of the Sabres back in like the late 90s. But obviously his style has changed. He's learned things since he left. He was with Dallas. He was with New Jersey. He had a little bit of a stint as an assistant with the Rangers, as you know, for a little while. So, but we'll see. It's 2 games, but at the same time, that's not a great start, especially when you were only able to get 2 goals in 2 games. We'll talk about the Devils when we get to the Metro, but they've got some nice goaltending. Like they've been trying to figure out goaltending for a little while.
They figured it out.
Tom Fitzgerald landed a fish this offseason in Markstrom, man. Like that impressive. Allen's a great backup for Markstrom too. Like they give Fitzgerald deserves props for this. And if
he knew what they needed.
Right, yeah. And the thing is that if goaltending can help them, because that was part of why last season was such a disappointment. I mean, they tried to change goalies mid-season, towards the end, just completely make different goalie moves. And
right.
Now they finally got the guy, and Markstrom Allen can be a nice duo. And we saw it. We saw a nice little preview there for the rest of the regular season in Prague. So props to Tom Fitzgerald. If this works out, he definitely needs to be in the GM of the Year comp.
All right. So you got Montreal 8. Did that mean you have the Sabres at 7?
No.
Okay. We went from Montreal 8 to a complete tangent.
I know we did. Well, I mean, it's been a long time.
It has been. It has been. All right.
So, wait, did you say who you had at 8?
All right, I'll do that now. I don't have the Montreal Canadiens. I've got the Detroit Red Wings.
Oh, okay.
I actually didn't hate the Red Wing offseason. They bring in a Vladimir Tarasenko. They bring back Kane. Still have Dylan Larkin. I just hate their goaltending.
Yeah.
Cam Talbot's not an answer to Cam Talbot's the answer to a question no one ever asked. Like, he's not a number one goalie. I don't know how much more I need to see of this. Go get John Gibson or something, Detroit. You're better than this. Although, yeah. I got to be honest with you, I think 6 through 8 in this division are interchangeable. So I got the Detroit Red Wings at 8. Who do you got at 7?
So at 7, I also have the Red Wings. So, it's the Yzer plan is not going as smoothly as it did when he was in Tampa. Obviously, that worked out a lot more successfully. And Yzerman didn't even get to enjoy that because he left before they started winning the Cups. So that kind of stinks. That kind of shades of when Talon left Chicago, and then Chicago started winning with Bowman. But I digress on that. Yeah, I've got Detroit 7. They're trying to figure things out, and it's just not going as smoothly as I think a lot of people anticipated when Yzerman took the job. Now, I'm not saying that, like, I definitely trust Yzerman still, but it's just things are a little rocky right now. And I know that there's some people that already don't want Yzerman to stay the GM, but I think you gotta let's see how this season plays out. It hasn't even started yet, and we can have our opinions, as the season goes on.
Here's the other thing that gave, and I love Steve Yzerman. Here's the other thing that gave him so much help in Tampa Bay. They had a number 2 pick they used on Victor Hedman. They had a number 1 pick they got in Steven Stamkos. And then they were able to hit in early or mid rounds. Kucherov, 2nd round pick. Braden Point, I believe, was a 2nd or a 3rd round pick. They were able to utilize high picks too, and then they were able to go through acquisitions.
Yeah,
I'm with you on Detroit. I have Montreal in 7th. A lot of the reasons you said, and I really wanted to put them higher, but the Patrick Laine injury to me is a damper because I thought Laine was going to have a huge year.
That was so disappointing too because Montreal.
Go ahead.
No, Montreal just being able to land him. I think that's a pairing that when he's healthy can be really substantial for both sides. So it could very well just be an awesome fit. And, who knows? I mean, if things work out, like Laine for me, and you saw it early in his career, he can be the face of a team. And the fact that it's gone the way that it has the last few seasons is it's just so weird.
It's horrible.
Yeah, and it was unpredictable. I don't think anybody had him.
Him to get
taken Patrick Laine because he was racking up hat tricks in the beginning of his career.
And for him to get taken out by a guy who's going to play in the American Hockey League on a hit, I don't care what anybody says. You go knee on knee, that's a dirty hit. It's just such a shame. So.
Such a shame. Super unfortunate.
Yeah, loves the growth of guys like Caulfield and Suzuki, but yeah, the Line A thing is just puts a damper. All right, at 6.
All right, I have the Ottawa Senators here.
Oh, okay.
It's great that they got Olmark, but I need to see more from everybody else, basically. And look, I mean, they've got Kachuk. Like I'm putting them at 6, knowing very well that this could be like very wrong, but like
they're at the show me stage.
Yeah, and the thing is, like Olmark, I think will be very good for them. At least, I mean, this is a Vezina Trophy winning goalie. He's very good. He was very good in Boston, but at the same time, like he also had a lot around him, in front of him in Boston, and I need to see a certain amount from the rest of the Senators in order to put them higher here. This is a show me what you got, because they've been Detroit and the Sabres have been in the same, like, trying to break through the glass ceiling for a little while now, and they keep getting stumped. All three of them. It's just like we're all waiting for someone to take a lead here in the race, and it's just not happening. So, and I think with Ottawa, like I need to see more, because I keep thinking that Ottawa's going to break through and then they don't. So show me it was a good move to get Olmark. They had it's a good team. Show me that you are the team that's going to break through that glass ceiling.
And here's my thing. They just bring in Travis Green, as the new coach. If you don't succeed this year, you're going to have to change the core.
Yeah.
Because you can't change the coach again. You're not changing the GM again. You're going to have to make a substantial change to this core. So that being said, at 6, I've got the Sabres for what you said. Ottawa, Buffalo, Detroit have been the same 3 teams for what feels like a decade. The difference for me on Ottawa than Buffalo is Olmark.
Yeah.
I trust him more than I trust UPL or Devin Levi so far. Right, those guys could be great. I love the Sabres back end, especially when they got Bo and Byram at the deadline last year. They're going to have to defend better, and they need Tage to kind of recapture what he had 2 years ago. I'm not saying 50 goals, but if you can get him into that 35 goal mark, that'd be much improved.
That's the thing too. Like last year, he had like 28 goals, and that was with he had like 3 or 4 injuries too. Like,
right, if they can keep him healthy, that'd be great.
So if he can be healthy all year, and I mean he kind of struggled a little. I mean, he had the 1 goal in the second game against the Devils, but if he can like return to form that he was 2 seasons ago, 3 seasons ago, I don't think 40 is out of the question. But he's got to get.
I was trying not to be greedy.
But when I mean, you can go back to those seasons, and he was one of the best in the league. And it's just like he needs to find that. And I think we saw enough of a sample size from him that it wasn't a fluke. But he needs to fight. And again, he had injuries last year, and I think that took a toll on him. But supposedly he's healthy now. I'm curious to see what we see out of Rasmus Dahlin this year, because, he is the captain now. This is his team. He's been with the team for a long time, signed a big contract extension. So now he's going to be the face of the team for everything continues to be how it is. I mean, years, as long as both sides want to stay together. And so we'll see what this team can do.
So I'm presuming you have them at 5.
I do, yes. I have the Sabres at 5 at this point. I like I said, I mean, we'll see. I need to see. Talking about another player who needs to step up is Alex Tuck.
Mm.
That was a great. I mean, I've been a Tuck fan since he was in Vegas,
Mhm.
and I just remember when the Golden Knights got Mark Stone from Ottawa, and doing the lines in my head and thinking, well, wait a minute, Alex Tuck is going to be in like the bottom 6 on the wing. And he's like way too talented for that. Like he is a top 6 guy for them. And I
Mm.
mean, you don't turn down a trade for Mark Stone. I mean, like
No.
I'm not saying Mark Stone's their captain. He's great, for them. They won a cup. Like I have no not arguing that. But it's just Alex Tuck was really good, and I felt like he needed to be in a top 6 role. And I saw exactly what I expected, if not more, from him 2 seasons ago. He had like, let me look up his stats from 2 seasons ago because just in front of
This
me
is
right
on the fly,
now because I
people.
believe if I'm remembering correctly, he had almost 40 goals 2 seasons ago. I think he had like 36. He had like 43 assists.
Mhm.
So, yes. So in the 2022-2023 season for the Sabres, he had 36 goals, 43 assists for 79 points in 74 games. And in last season, he dropped by 20 points basically, and he played one more game. So he played 75 games last year, 22 goals, 37 assists for 59 points. Now that's not awful, but after what he did in 2022-23, you're expecting way more from him. He and Thompson were looked at as being two of the offensive faces for this era of the Sabres. And then Jeff Skinner was obviously in there too, but now he's in Edmonton. But those two guys, and then now you have JJ Paterka there, who is super promising, and I'm curious to see how he follows up his progress last season. That's a good first line. And I got to tell you, when this fourth line is back, I know fourth line doesn't get a whole lot of talk about with NHL teams, but they have a nice fourth line that they put together in the offseason. 2/3 of it were on the Capitals last season, and
Yeah.
Beck Malenstein and Nicholas Aube-Kubel, but they also got Sam Lafferty as a free agent who
Yeah. Vancouver. Played in Vancouver.
he put up some good numbers for Vancouver last
Yep.
year. He can provide his share of offense, and they've been clicking pretty well as a fourth line. Knack obviously hurt right now. Hopefully, he's not going to be out super, super long. But if they play well, I don't see why you don't re-sign Lafferty and Knack.
And here's the other part. They're not only just a good fourth line, they're going to help you on the PK.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's going to be important, especially when you have a young goaltender, which they do in Levi and UPL.
When when it was the first day of Caps training camp, one of the first people we talked to was Nick Dowd, and Dowd talked about we briefly mentioned about Malenstein and Knack and just how good shut down of how good defensively they were, just how shut down they were, and just because he was the center for that line, and like he talked very well about what both of those guys were able to do for the Caps last season because they played together for I think most of last season together as the fourth line, and Sabres were obviously impressed by what they were able to do. They took 2/3 of that line away. So, and they traded the second round pick for Malenstein, who is now on a 2-year contract with them. So if that works out, they've got some speed and they're clicking pretty well. Beck's on a 2-year deal. I would try to bring back Lafferty and Knack on another 1-year contract each. Let's see what this line can do. So
So 8 through 5, we have the same teams, which means we have the top 4 the same as well. We just
Yeah.
have different orders.
Yeah. So I'll go first for the, well, not first, but I'll go fourth with who it is. I've got the Tampa Bay Lightning 4.
Okay. Is that good enough for a wild card?
It could be. It could be. They're still going to be in that conversation. I just think that they're losing Stamkos is going to be hard. I mean, I think it's already hard on that team. Hedman, obviously, I don't know if anyone thought that he wasn't going to get the captaincy, but
I was wondering if they would go 1 year without a captain just to be nice.
I think Hedman has too much of a history there.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
He showed up a year after Stamkos did. So, I mean, that's why I think, he is just as involved in this whole era of Lightning hockey as Stamkos is. Now, even more so, the fact that he's going to still be there. But yeah, I would find it hard to believe you wouldn't give that to him. That would just be kind of weird, if you ask me. So yeah, I think they'll be good.
Not great.
They'll win their. I mean, they've got Braden Point. They've got Kucherov, of course. Vasilevsky in net.
For a full season. They didn't have Vasilevsky all year last year.
So they get Jake Gensel. I'm really interested to see how Gensel fits in that lineup during the regular season. I think he'll have a pretty big year. But you're trying to replace 40 goals from Stamkos, and I know I believe Gensel's gotten 40 before. Let me check that
I think he hit 40 maybe not last year, but at least 1 year in Pittsburgh.
And if you're putting him on a line with like Kucherov, for example,
the best playmaker, or second best playmaker in the game behind McDavid.
I mean, he'll definitely get his share of points from that. Yes, so he has hit 40 goals twice with the Penguins. First time was in 2018-19, and then the second time was in 2021-2022. So he, in his best season that he's ever had in his career statistically, was 2021-22. He had 40 goals and a total of 84 points in 76 games. So definitely someone to look out for Tampa. I think he'll be, a big reason why they have success. Kucherov, obviously, and Hedman. We have all the normal suspects on that roster, but if Gensel can get back to that, or at least get like 35, I think they'll be in pretty good shape. But I've got them 4 at this point. Some of that based on just the other teams that are ahead of them.
Well, the other thing for me on them, don't forget they brought back Ryan McDonough.
That's great for the leadership too.
Yeah, like they're gonna miss Sergachev, but I do like the fact that they brought back McDonough. Now the team I've gotten fourth, I've got the Boston Bruins.
Okay.
A lot of this had to do with because of what happened before today. I did this. Jeremy Swayman did sign an 8-year contract by $8.25 million per year.
Breaking news. Because that was today.
Take that, Elliot Friedman.
He's the one who
He's the one who broke it.
I don't know why you're doing that.
I don't know either. Come on the pod, Elliot. Talk to us. But no. My thing about Boston is last year they had a lot of guys contribute in different facets. What am I going to get this year out of Pavel Zacha? What am I going to get this year out of Charlie Coyle? What am I going to get out of Elias Lindholm, who comes over? And let's be honest, he was not great for the Vancouver Canucks once he got over there.
Yeah, and then you talk about like Boston getting guys from Vancouver. They also got Nikita
Zadorov. By the way, just what they needed, a big, physical, nasty defenseman. Not like the Bruins have ever had that before.
Well, they were certainly looking for someone to do that some more for them. So
Oh
they
my!
did. They did achieve that in the offseason by
Listen,
bringing him into the
I
fold.
I am looking forward to the first Bruins Leafs game, and Zadorov lays out either Marner or Nylander. I am
Zadorov is
very
going to be
tempted to
hated
see
by
the response.
Zadorov's going to be hated probably by the Leafs fan base.
Oh, Zadorov's gonna be hated by everybody. He
Uh,
went to the one spot he was gonna be hated no matter what. All
but
right, who do you got in the top three?
So I've got the Bruins here. Again, I mean, we talked about their off season. I I know the plan is to roll with Corpusalo as the goalie for the first game. I
Just because
don't
we don't know
know.
the Swayman shape.
I wonder if that's related because of all the Swayman stuff that happened. Obviously, they got the deal done, but even if they're just trying to see what they got in Corpusalo early, like they're going to go to Swayman. Like Swayman's going to be the guy, and we'll see how long it takes for them to get there. And no shade on Corpusalo when I say that. I just think that Swayman, he was part of the success, the goalie hug, that whole thing with Olmark. And the reality of the situation is they chose Swayman over Olmark. And so Olmark's gone. They have the Swayman deal done. And I think Swayman's going to end up being the guy. And Corpusalo will probably end up being the backup unless they want to do a 1A, 1B type thing. But I just think that Swayman's going to grab the reins.
Corpusalo, this is not me trying to knock him, but he hasn't been that guy for a long time.
You're right. It's been a little bit.
Yeah, so that's my issue. For me in three, I've got the Leafs.
Okay.
I think the Leafs. We all know the pressure that comes with being a Leaf. At some point, you have to get out of the first round. Still don't love the goaltending. I realize they bring in Craig Berube to be the new coach, but at the end of the day, this is the same nucleus that it's been for years. They revamped the blue line. At some point, this team's going to have to win big games in the playoffs.
Right.
And listen, they could take the 82 regular season games off. They're going to make the playoffs just by how talented they are. The pressure for me starts for them in April.
Right. I mean, they'll win. I mean, they're so talented that they're going to win enough to be a
Right,
top
exactly. They're going to get there. There's going to be no worry that they don't make it.
This is probably the last I mean, if they don't have enough success in the postseason, is this the end of Marner there?
Has to be.
Yeah.
It has to be.
I mean, and everyone was, the amount of Marner to Utah rumors that I saw in the offseason. We'll send Marner to Utah for Clayton Keller, who, by the way, Keller just named the first captain for Utah. That's a big, that was kind of obvious for me.
Yeah.
I don't, not that there aren't other candidates there, but it was always going to be, this is Ben Keller's team. So, yeah. So, I guess so. We're on 2 now, right?
We are on to 2. Top 2.
So I just kind of going off of you at 3. I've got the Leafs at 2. And when they get back to the big dance starting in April, they need to handle their business. Plain and simple. I know that it's been frustrating. I mean, we've seen the different videos of like the Leafs on the bench during that playoff series last year.
Seen the Steve Dangle videos.
Well, yeah, we've seen the Steve Dangle videos the last years, and it's just they finally were able to get out of the first round, and then it was almost like they didn't get out of the first round 2 years ago. This is it. This is your last chance with this core. Now, changing the core could just mean Marner goes, which is probably how that would happen. But this is your last. This is the last chance. Like 100%. We've said this for like a couple years now that, well, the core needs to change if they don't do it. They don't do it. Well, then the core stays the same. They've done this the last couple years. There is no more excuses with this core. You get you either accomplish the goals ahead of you or you're done. It's as simple as that. You cannot go in front of the media if you fail again and say, we're going to run back the same group. That is just not going to work anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So this is it. You either do it this year or that's it. You got to get rid of someone from the core.
And by the core, we're not include. I don't know about you. I don't include John Tavares at his expiring contract because he's 34 years old.
I mean, there's people that say like the core four is like, Matthews, Nylander, Tavares, and Marner.
No, but I'm saying what I'm saying is letting him walk in free agency.
I expect that's happening. We'll see what happens there with Tavares after this season. But
by the way, he's probably the guy who would take a 1-year deal worth $1 million just to stay.
Oh, with Toronto?
Yeah, incentive laden it up.
Maybe they don't get rid of him then, but I don't know. I think I think we've seen this will be his last season. I think no matter what, with the Leafs, and it kind of just that, and then obviously if Marner goes too, then your core four is now in half. You have Nylander and Matthews, and I don't know, but we're crossing way too many bridges before we so we'll wrap up the Atlantic here.
I got the Lightning at 2.
Okay.
Listen, I think a big key is having Vasilevsky for a full year. We know how good he is. He's still, in my mind, if he's not the best goalie in the league, he's top 2 or 3. You mentioned Gensel. I think Gensel has a big year. I also think the best thing that happened to this team was getting beat by the Panthers because now they have a full off season to get healthy.
Yeah.
This team's played more hockey than anybody because of long series and the cup runs. I just got a feeling John Cooper's going to have these guys ready to go.
Oh, he's at least arguably the best coach in the league.
He's the best coach of the league. I don't think it's that close. Yeah. Sorry, everybody else.
Who would you put it to?
Oh, man, that is a great question. The second best coach in hockey. You know what? I think I'd go Bruce Cassidy too.
Okay, I can totally understand that.
Yeah, I think I'd go Cassidy too, and if I'm going to round it out into a top 5, Cassidy at 2. Pete DeBoer's got to be in this conversation too somewhere.
Mm-hmm. What about Bednar?
Bednar's in the top 5.
Okay.
So that'd be 4 out of 5.
Would you listen to Bednar at 2 or no?
I'd listen to Bednar at 2. But I would also ask this: is Bednar that great of a coach, or does he benefit from having McKinnon and Makar and Landeskog?
Well, yeah, I feel like that's almost like a chicken or the egg conversation.
Right. Yeah.
But we all know how good McKinnon and Makar are.
Right.
All right.
I think Bednar's that great.
All right, so I'll go 1 here for the Atlantic. I've got the Florida Panthers. I think there's a really good shot that they could win the President's Trophy as well. I'm not actually making a prediction for that. That's not part of this. But I definitely think they'll be in that conversation. Fresh off winning their first Stanley Cup in franchise history. They couldn't be feeling probably any better than they do right now as a franchise, like as a team. You know, like they are feeling great. They have most of that team as cup rings. They did lose some people in the offseason, but they kept their core guys. You still have Barkov, you still have Reinhardt. That they did lose like Montour, and they did lose some guys, but they'll be fine. They're not going to have any issue winning this division, in my opinion. They'll have competition, but I just think at the end of the day they'll find some way to get it done. So that's why I've got them at 1. But yeah, so but yeah, just I guess one comment that I want to make just before I let Mike um, do his number 1. So basically, just to review who I have down here in the Atlantic Division, I have the Florida Panthers at 1, Toronto Maple Leafs at 2, Boston Bruins at 3, Tampa Bay Lightning at 4, Buffalo Sabres at 5, Ottawa Senators at 6, Detroit Red Wings at 7, and Montreal Canadiens at 8. So that's just a review here with who I have here at my top 8. So just one more time: Florida Panthers, Toronto Maple Leafs, Boston Bruins, Tampa Bay Lightning, Buffalo Sabres, Ottawa Senators, Detroit Red Wings, and then Montreal Canadiens. So, Mike, I just ran through real quickly. I mentioned that I had, I've got Florida here as my 1. I just did a quick recap here with the 8. Who do you have as your 1?
I've got Florida too. They remain loaded. Bring back Reinhardt off the year he had. The Chuck's back. Barkov. Bobrovsky, who's playing the best hockey of his career.
Right.
Off that playoff.
Does he get his number retired once he's done there?
Yeah. First cup, he'll get it. He'll get it up there.
Is he a Hall of Famer? I think yes.
Yeah, I think yes, too. Multiple Vezinas.
Him winning the cup sealed it, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, that's fair. That's fair.
Okay.
So
all right. We'll try to go a little bit quicker with because I know we kind of explained quite a bit in those.
Yeah, we'll go quicker here with the Metro. But I'll recap my Atlantic first. Detroit at 8, Montreal 7, Buffalo 6, Ottawa 5, Boston, Toronto, Tampa, and we both have the Florida Panthers winning the Atlantic Division.
Okay.
All right, Nate, let's go through the Metro.
Okay. Why don't you go first this time, just because I went the last time.
In last place, and I say this because of 2 reasons. One is the emotion they're going to play with. 2, it's just I don't think they're as good as the other teams. I got the Blue Jackets at 8. The Johnny Gaudreau stuff is got to be weighing on these guys. No offense. I hate the Sean Monahan contract that they gave out. And I still don't love their goaltending. I still don't love Merzlikins. So I'm going to put Columbus at 8. Although under Don Waddell, you're going to see the improvement come quickly with this club.
Right. I have the Blue Jackets at 8 as well.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be just like a very emotional season for not just them, but for the hockey world.
Oh, yeah.
With the Gaudreau brothers. You mentioned the goaltending. I need to see more out of the goaltending. I definitely think that plays a factor in this. We'll see what the offense is able to bring, and just, I will see what, how this team is able to come together around Don Waddell. Sorry, that took me a second to say that.
No, that's fine.
We'll see what the team looks like with Don Waddell now, in that position of running the team.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see what, and he came in, we'll actually start to see what his version of the Blue Jackets are going to look like soon. Obviously, you're only able to do so much this time around. with him taking that job in management for them.
Yeah.
But he'll eventually put more of his stamp on this roster. But yeah, so right now, I've got them at 8.
All right. For me at 7, I got the Philadelphia Flyers. I know last year they played really well. I think
Yeah,
they overachieved last year.
right.
And I think they kind of come back to reality. I also think we're going to see some improvement from other teams in this division. That's why I got them sliding to 7th. But John Tortorella's got this team going in the right direction. Travis Konechny had a nice year. They're going to have Sean Couturier, it looks like, for a full year. They had their guy Mitchkov come over from the KHL. So we'll see what happens. But I got Philly right now at 7.
Yeah, I've got Philly at 7 as well here. I'm really excited to see what Mitchkov's going to do. For them. I mean, I know there was a lot of people were worried that he was going to be tied to the KHL for a while, and the Flyers were like, "We'll take that head on, and we'll see what happens here." Because and props to Briere for drafting him when he did. That's going to be a big. I mean, he has the potential to be a huge draft pick for them.
Yeah.
And be one of the faces of Philly's offense for a while. Between him, obviously, Torts always knows how to get the best out of his guys, and he's been a coach for as long as he has for that reason. And I think they have a good management there in Philly. We'll see how they're able to build off of last year. Like I said, I've got them at 7, but I think their future is very, very bright. I mean, Mitchkov will have, I think, a pretty good year for them, but it's just they're a team that's in transition right now. They're just getting into starting to build towards their next era. So we'll see what happens. But right now they're in the short term. Right now they're going to be kind of on the bottom tier of the Metro.
Yeah. All right. So we're the same way, 7 and 8.
Yep.
At 6, I don't know about you. I got the Pittsburgh Penguins here at 6.
I do too, actually.
Yeah, I'm just listen. I actually thought they had a decent off season. I just don't buy in. This team is just. I don't want to claim they're too old because Sidney Crosby just had 90 points, but I need to see someone not named Sidney Crosby be a big contributor.
Well, and the thing is that they're rolling with this era. I mean, they're.
And by the way, I actually don't blame Kyle Dubas for this at all either.
Right.
I more blame Sullivan.
Well, and the reality of the situation is that they're going to be doing the Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin, Chris Letang, now Erik Karlsson era until they're done. Until they're going to ride this out until they retire on their terms. So it's, and Crosby just re-upped. So this era is going to be going on for a few more years now, and they're going to do what they can to try to win one more cup. But it doesn't feel like that's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, the organization's not going to turn around and be like, okay, we kind of need to be done here. They're going to respect what they've done for the organization. They have quite a few Stanley Cups in the case right now because of this era and what Crosby and Malkin were able to do and Letang were able to do specifically, and it just, now you're at the point right now where you're going to be not as in it as you were previous years because you're just waiting for the transition to happen to the next era of Penguins hockey. So I've got them at 6.
Let me ask you a follow-up.
Okay.
Who do you which of these two guys has more pressure this year to win for this team? Erik Karlsson, who they had to give up a lot for, or Tristan Jarry, the guy they paid a ton of money to in goal, who has not been Mr. Consistency?
It's going to be Jarry.
Okay.
I think just because goalie is such a highlighted position,
Mm-hmm.
and when a goalie is not playing well, everyone's gonna know. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it's going to be very obvious, and like Carlson just kind of came back. He was hurt. I mean, he's someone who's battled injuries in his career. It's I just think Jari because he's the guy in net. It's him. And I know Nedeljkovic was hurt himself, and there's a chance that Ned's not going to be the backup to start the season, but Jari he needs to have a big year for them. And if Carlson and Jari are not having both not having good years, you're going to hear more about Jari. I mean, you're going to hear it about Carlson too if he doesn't have a good season this year or parts of the season. But the conversation is going to be on Jari more just because he is the number one goalie. That is an important position on this team. Goalie is talked about to like the level of quarterback in football.
Yeah.
Now, whether that's right is another conversation,
Uh-huh.
but it's such an important position. It's the last line of defense for a team. If Jari doesn't play well, it's gonna be a tough one.
All right. So we're the same 8 through 6. At 5, let me be honest with you. I think 4 and 5 are going to be very close in the Metro.
I think I know where you're going to be going with for both, but okay.
At 5, I'm actually going with the Carolina Hurricanes.
Okay.
And I do think this could be good enough for a wild card. I think there's going to be a few teams in this wild card. Let me first say I love this team. I love everything about Carolina. They're still missing that guy. Had they brought back Jay Gensel, I would be like, love it for Carolina. But I did not love their offseason. I don't think they have that game changer still.
They lost a lot of guys.
That's the other thing. They lost a ton of guys, still banking on Freddie Anderson in goal. So I love them, and Rod Brind'Amour could totally sway this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put Carolina at 5 for right now.
Well, and you lost guys in the division. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, Brett Pesce went and signed a big year contract with the Devils.
Yeah.
And I mean that's a big get for them. On a team that was already pretty doing all right at that position. So I mean, it's I can understand that. I might get criticized for putting them here, but I've got the Islanders at 5.
Okay.
I just I there's something about them that they're not convincing for me. I know where they were last season. I just would not be surprised if they dipped this year. I
No, that's fair.
I I love Lou. I love what he's done for, in his career. He's a Hall of Famer already. I mean, he's already in the Hall. So I mean, like it's, that's how good he is. He's not even done with his career, and he's already like so well respected, and rightfully so. I think they needed to do more this offseason with the team. I know they have a lot of great talent already.
Mm-hmm.
Duclair is a good move. I think that move is going to be very good for them.
That was my favorite signing of the offseason.
I needed to see more.
Mm-hmm. No, that's fair.
I mean, the conversation today was about Engvall and that contract.
Oh yeah.
How Engvall, I don't remember the exact quote, but basically that Engvall lost.
He's going to go on waivers.
Yeah, and basically there was a quote that he lost his job. He lost the job. Basically, he lost his spot. And it's just that was a move that the Islanders made to bring him aboard. And I mean, I'm not just doing this based on the Engvall decision here.
No,
but
right.
I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced by the Islanders, and I need to see more from them. And they could very well be capable of doing that. And I will gladly take the L on that this year if that's the case. But I need more out of them.
I got the Islanders at 4. So I agree with everything you said, but there are two things that I think are important. I think one, a full training camp under Patrick Waugh matters. I
Okay.
do think that matters. Two, their special teams cannot be as bad as they were last year. Their penalty kill was an atrocity. Their power play was not existent. You bring in an Anthony Duclair, that'll help. Bo Horvat's there for a full year, that'll help. Brock Nelson's still a good player. Barzal's elite. They need to figure out what the hell Anders Lee is because I
Right.
don't know that. Noah Dobson's turning into a really good defenseman. And the X factor of it all is going to be Sorokin. If Ilya
Right.
Sorokin can find his game from 2 years ago, this team's as dangerous as anybody. If Ilya Sorokin stinks, they're going to have issues. But I'm banking on Sorokin finding it, and the Islanders are going to be a tough team to play against again.
Well, that's the thing too. Like when Sorokin's on his game, he's one of the best goalies in the sport.
Yeah,
I mean, he is that good, and
100%.
he could be one of the best in the position. And if he plays out of his mind, he'll be a Vesna candidate. So I agree with you entirely. We need to see that version of Sorokin if they're
Yeah.
going to be in this Metro, among the best in the East. So,
Yeah.
so that was your 4, correct?
That was my 4.
Yeah. So we flopped 4 and 5. I've got
Okay.
the Carolina.
We're very close on all of these.
Yeah, I've got the Carolina Hurricanes here at 4. I do know that they lost a lot, and that is going to be a huge factor in this. If they're going to, if they're able to come back from losing all these different guys that they lost in the offseason, which I think they are capable of doing. They have a lot of guys that are still there. They've got Svechnikov. They just re-signed Netchis.
Yep.
They've got Jordan Stahl, who, I know he's older, but he's still a leader on this team, and that still is going to make a big difference. Rod Brindamore at coach. Some people were wondering whether or not he was going to be gone in the offseason. He's still there, and he's still a great mind in the sport. I think they'll be fine. I think that, they're going to feel the effects of losing a few of these guys, but I think they have the capabilities around them of being able to all these other players to pick up some of the load. And we'll see if some of these guys step up to the plate, and we'll see how much of a difference it is.
All right, we're into the top 3, and we have the same 3 teams.
Yep. Great minds think alike, man.
Listen, I'm wondering if we're sharing a brain here on the top 3. I've got the Washington Capitals at 3.
So do I.
Yeah, I love that we talked about this. We love their offseason. Love the addition of Matt Roy and Jacob Chikrin on that back end. Love the Pierre-Luc Dubois addition. Now, they are going to get hurt a little bit without TJ Oshie. I do think that's a big loss. But if some of these younger players, the Hendricks LaPierres, if he's up, Connor McMichael, these guys are going to have an opportunity to contribute to this hockey team. And if they do, listen, this team played really well last year for the most part.
Yeah.
And if you look back to the 4-game sweep, the Rangers, that the Rangers gave them, they were competitive in most of those games. It's 1 or 2 mistakes that cost them.
Right. Yeah. For me, first of all, Hendricks LaPierre is making the team. There's no question he's making the team. Todd Nelson even said that at rookie camp. He goes, he's like, I don't expect to see him in Hershey at all this upcoming season, which good for him, because I know that it's been a fight to get him fully on the team, but well deserved. I mean, he is such a great talent, and I think he's going to have a really good season for the Caps this year. You talked about Connor McMichael, another really young talent that they brought in a few years ago. Yeah. I'm interested to see how much I'm going to butcher his last name. Ivan Miroshnichenko I'm curious to see how much.
Oh, microscope.
Yeah,
That's what
um,
I'll call him.
I'm curious to see how he does. I wrote about, again, shameless plug. I wrote about the forward battle that's taking place right now
Yeah.
as we're recording this. Jacob Verana, Stanley Cup champion in 2018 with the Caps. He is still on a PTO. Um, he is a fan favorite. A lot of people in this area are rooting for him to make the team. He's got some competition. I mean, Verana's done very well in training camp in the preseason. He is definitely earning his spot with the team. But you also have a guy like Andrew Crystal, who, you know, he's fighting for a spot too, and he's done really well in the WHL with the Rockets. And he's an offensive force in junior, and it's like, does he really need to go back there again? It's time. It's going to be really interesting. It's been a really interesting battle. They've got some tough decisions they're going to have to make it forward, and even on defense. They just sent Ethan Bear down. They loaned him over to the Bears. A guy who's pushing to make the roster is Dylan McElrath, who from this time with the
Ranger legend.
Rangers. He captained the Bears to back-to-back Calder Cups. And his leadership skills that he had down there, Carberry has noticed what he's done in this training camp. He is pushing to make to take one of those defensive slots on a team that's had a lot of competition as it is. I mean, you can pencil John Carlson, Chikrin, Rasmus Sandin, and Matt Roy in there is like your top four. But it gets a lot more interesting. And you can talk about Fairvey and Trevor Van Riemsdyk, Alexander Alexiev. I mean, they have a lot of candidates that can really be fighting for those last spots. And McElrath's pushed for it. I mean, he's a leader in Hershey. He captained both of those teams to back-to-back Calder Cups. He is a leader both on the ice and off the ice. And he very well could end up with one of those defensive slots when all is said and done. And if so, it's a big get. It's going to be a big get no matter who gets him, whether that's going to be the Bears or it's going to be the Caps. And as someone who's had to battle through being in the minors for a good chunk of his career, well deserved. McElrath said to Carberry that during training camp, basically that it's the best that he's ever felt in his career at the position, playing defense, and just in his career. And he's felt the best that he ever has. I always like to say when players get better as they get older, they're aging like a fine wine. And that appears to be the case with McElrath. So we'll see if he makes it. It'll be interesting if Verana gets a contract from GM Chris Patrick. And we'll see what happens with Crystal if they decide to keep him or if they send him back to juniors. Just this is as hard as it gets. Sometimes it's easier to make these different choices here. Earlier on in training camp, especially when you have rookies who are going to be, most likely going to be sent back down to either their junior teams or go to Hershey for their training camp. But they've got some guys. They've got some really good guys, and it's gonna be tough. They've got some tough decisions that they're gonna have to make.
All right, top two. At two for me, I've got the Rangers. One, I couldn't do it as much as I wanted to. I couldn't do it.
They won the President's Trophy last year, man.
Well, one, I didn't want to seem biased, but two, I'm going to ease a little bit of pressure off of them. But here's the thing. Between now and Wednesday, Chris Drury, get the Igor Shesterkin extension done. That's first and foremost. That's got to get done. Two, they need a couple of things to go right this year. Mika Zibanejad, you got to be better, especially at 5-on-5. You were not great last year, 5-on-5. We'll see how Riley Smith does playing with him and Chris Kreider. That looks like he'll get the first shot.
Mm-hmm.
Alexei Lafreniere, you took a massive step last year. This year, can you maintain that step? And Capo Caco, can you take a step forward? That's going to be a question that was answered. Now, I am to think Caco actually played pretty well before he got hurt last year. The numbers didn't show it, but that has to do with a lot of, other stuff. So, and then defensively, what is Zach Jones going to give you? Can Jacob Trouba, stay healthy? And how did what happened over the summer? Does that weigh on him at all? I don't know. But I think this team is really good. I still think they are the biggest competition for the Florida Panthers in their quest to repeat in the Eastern Conference. But for right now, I'm going to put them at 2 in the Metropolitan Division.
All right. I've got the Devils here now at 2. Now I'm gonna try to be quicker with my answers here. I know we've said that we were gonna do that, and
we're gonna try to be quicker, people.
Yeah,
we'll go quicker in the West,
just so this doesn't take super long. I've got the Devils at 2. I think I picked them to win the Cup last year, and it just didn't work out the way that I thought it would. I think it's potentially going to work out a lot better this year. Certainly started out that way. I've got them at 2. I don't think they're going to be the number 1 team in the Metro, but I do think that without having that amount of pressure on them, I think they're going to shine better than they did last year. So I've got the Devils at 2.
All right. I got the Devils at 1. Their big Achilles heel is not having a goalie. They got Jacob Markstrom. They bring in Brett Pesce on the back end, and Dougie Hamilton's healthy. And then we know how good guys like Jack Hughes and Jesper Bratt are. So I think the Devils, and we know this about Sheldon Keefe. He's a very good regular season head coach.
Right.
So they're going to win their fair share of games of the regular season.
It's going to be about the season.
What that alludes to in the playoffs, we have no idea.
Yeah. And last I've got the Rangers here. Shesterkin, Adam Fox, Zibanejad, Panarin. I mean, your usual suspects here.
Great movie, Usual Suspects.
Huh?
Usual Suspects, great film.
Yeah, they made some decent moves in the offseason too. I mean, I liked the Riley Smith acquisition. It's a low-key move, but he's a great player still. And if you can get anything kind of similar to how he was in Vegas, it's going to be a slam dunk move. But yeah, I think the Rangers will find their way to win the Metro.
All right. So
I think we should kind of, just to go a little bit quicker, I think we should just kind of do I'll list our 8 maybe.
Okay, let's go. Let's go to the Central. List it off.
Sure. So I'm going Blues 8. I think the bottom is just going to fall off for them.
End of an era.
But we'll see what happens there. But I think it's going to be a tough road for them this year. We've got the Chicago Blackhawks at 7. I think Bedard's going to have a great year. Might be some questions around him, but he's at least going to shine for them. They might have another high pick this year. Minnesota Wild, I've got at 6. I've got the Utah Hockey Club at 5. I think they're going to surprise some people. I think they're a very skilled team. Sergachev was a nice move by them. I was really impressed that they were able to get him. Clayton Keller just got the C. I think they're going to have a great crowd this year. It should be a lot of fun. Got the Winnipeg Jets at 4. I've got the Colorado Avalanche at 3. Always going to be dangerous especially in the regular season with guys like McKinnon and Makar. If they can stay healthy and all these guys can stay healthy, should be good. And it'll be fun to see Gabe Landeskog back, after everything that's happened with him. Got the Dallas Stars at 2, and I've got the Nashville Predators at 1. I think this team is going to be riding off a lot of stuff. I think they're going to be riding off of the vibes of the offseason. I think they're going to be running off of the fact that they got 2 40-goal scorers signed in the offseason, in Steven Stamkos and Jonathan Marchessault. I think that they inked their goalie to an 8-year contract extension. They brought in Brady Shea, which doesn't get talked about because they got Steven Stamkos and Jonathan Marchessault. Brady Shea is going to be great for their offense on defense. A nice complementary piece to Roman Josi, who's one of the best defensemen in the sport. I mean, name a weakness on Nashville. You can't. They're so good. And I think they're going to be dominant for at least a good chunk of this regular season.
And don't forget what they added, what they already had it for. They had a guy like Philip Forsberg, who's himself a 30, 40 goal scorer.
And he's another guy who ages like a fine wine. He's playing his best hockey now.
And he was traded for Martin Erat.
We don't gotta rehash that out again. That's right. A sore subject for some people.
Where you are, it is. I'm safe where I am. All right.
How about you for the Central?
All right. I got the Blackhawks in last. I love their offseason, what they did. I still don't love Peter Mrazek, but they're going to grow up a lot. 7, I've got Minnesota. I don't know what they are. That's the problem. I don't know what they are. 6, I got St. Louis. Like you said, they're going to bottom out at some point. Who knows what they look like. 5, I'm with you on Utah. I think Utah is going to surprise some people. 4, I've got the Winnipeg Jets. I'm very intrigued on the Jets. They're kind of this wild card team of all wild cards. I just don't know. They can be really good. They can be really bad. I don't see an in-between for them.
And Hellebuck is going to play his part well.
Hellebuck's going to do his part. It's everyone else.
Yeah.
All right. 3, I've got the Avs. They're too talented. 2, Nashville, everything you said. Listen, if the Dallas Stars don't play into the hand of the Edmonton Oilers, the Dallas Stars are playing the Florida Panthers for the Stanley Cup.
Ooh, okay.
They took too many penalties. It played right into McDrysaddle's hands. And that's how they lost the series. But I love Jake Ottinger. They still have Miro Heiskanen, Harley on the back end. They did lose Joe Pavelski. That's going to hurt them. But these young guys, Stankoven and Wyatt Johnston, they're going to be big this year for the Dallas Stars. The big X factor, though, Ben and Sagan. Can they stay healthy?
Right.
If they can stay healthy, I love this team.
And they're getting older too. That's not something that you can take lightly here. Not that that's going to be a huge factor here. I mean, they're still playing great, but the health is definitely super, super important. All righty. Pacific Division.
Yeah.
At 8, I have the Anaheim Ducks.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they're going to have a great year, especially in the division. We'll see what happens, but it might be a tough road for Ducks fans this year and the team. At number 7, I've got the San Jose Sharks. I think, I know Celebrini got hurt, and that kind of puts a little bit of a damper on things a little bit, but I do think that they're going to play better than they did last year. I mean, they played some brutal hockey last year. Some brutal hockey, especially at I think about a year ago. It was like October, November that they had some really bad losses in there. It was a really rough season. I think they're going to have I know you mentioned you thought that their lineup was was better than it was last year. I agree with that. So I've got them at 7. At 6, I've got the Calgary Flames. I just think that they're in a tough spot right now. We'll see how they do this year, but I don't have them high up in this division. Obviously, I've got them at 6, but we'll see if they can prove me wrong. And number 5, I've got the Los Angeles Kings. At 4, I've got the what?
Whoa, LA at 5. Okay.
Yeah. I've got LA at 5. I guess that's a hot take. I didn't think it was that hot of a take, but okay. I've got the Seattle Kraken at 4. and I've got Vegas at 3. I think they're going to be fine. I know that some people think that they might run into some issues now this season. I think they'll be all right. Vancouver Canucks at 2, and I've got the Edmonton Oilers at 1.
All right.
I see. I haven't watched that whole thing that with McDavid yelling in the locker room and crying after they lost the cup. I've seen those clips online. I have not watched it yet.
Mhm.
That whole thing. But I think he's going to be out for a vengeance. He is. Yeah, I mean, that's the passion you want from your captain.
100%.
100%. And that, I mean, he had a great offseason. He got married. It obviously wasn't as long of an offseason as some of these other ones were, but that ate away at him this offseason. Him, Draisaitl, they're going to come back with a vengeance. And
that was another key. They got the Draisaitl deal done.
Yeah, and I'm really curious what kind of points McDavid's going to put up, because he's going to have a fire in it. Not that he doesn't have fire in his eyes in general, but you put the fire in his eyes of losing a cup final series in there, mixed with the talent, the robotic talent that he already had. Whew, I'm not jealous of the opponents that that are going to be in his way.
No.
So I think it's you.
No, for me at 8, I've got Anaheim. I do think at some point they're going to trade Zegras. I just think that's not just BS. I think they'll do it. 7, with you, Sharks. Askarov's going to take over the net at some point. That'll benefit them.
Well, but there's that whole thing too. Like, sorry to cut you off, but that it needs to be said. There was the whole Askarov thing that happened. That was like the one negative thing that happened out of Nashville.
And it really isn't a negative, because they extended UC Saros.
Well, no, but the fact that it was like, I mean, it was like the fact that they had to deal with like that, he wasn't happy,
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is that you weren't
an elite goalie. What are you going to do?
You weren't beating Saros for the number 1 job.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still like, why wouldn't you take the backup job? It's not like you weren't going to get any games. You'll get your fair share of games.
Yeah.
But then the thing is that he wanted to leave.
He wanted to be the guy.
The Sharks, and now he's going to the AHL.
Well, I think eventually he will be the guy.
Oh, he will. He will. But what was I guess the point was just the fact that he'll have a better shot.
Yeah.
He's never going to have the shot for the 1. Yeah. But at the end of the day, he's going to be in the AHL again. So, I mean.
Yeah. Well, they also got Celebrini. They bring in Barclay Goodrow. Thank you for that one, by the way. And they also brought in Tyler Toffoli, which was one of the worst things I saw. But you know what? It works for them.
He's a good talent.
No, I know, but that team's not going to make the playoffs. That was my only thing.
So you think that it wasn't a good choice on Toffoli's part,
right? Like I would have gone to a place, even if it's a 1-year deal. I would have gone to a place that could win the cup.
Okay.
So there's that. 6, I'm with you. Calgary's in the middle of a rebuild, or the beginning stages of a rebuild. Here's where we differ. You had the LA Kings at 5.
Yeah.
I have the Vancouver Canucks at 5.
Oh, okay.
This all hinges on one thing: Thatcher Demko's health.
Okay.
If Thatcher Demko's not healthy, I don't love this team. If he is healthy, they're going to be better than this.
I mean, that's a big factor. That's a big difference if he's not healthy.
Right, but you know what? Jake DeBrusk is a good player. I need to see him put it together again. And then I'm adding that to Miller and Besser and Pedersen. Quinn Hughes is great. I just is this going to be the same look as it was last year? I don't know.
Well, and I want to see Pedersen Pedersen's got to hit the 100-point season.
He's got a got a lethal shot. He's got
that offense. Him. I mean, Hughes is going to do his thing on the back end. I mean, I know. Won the Norris. That won't be his only Norris in his career either that he wins. But okay.
All right, so I got them at 5. I got Seattle at 4. The LA Kings at 3, although that could be interchange. I have Vegas at 2, and then I'm with you. I got the Oilers winning this division. They're like the Leafs in the sense of I ain't judging the Oilers on the 82 game season. I'm going to wait for April.
Yeah, well, that's how they've been the last few years. Everyone knows
Yeah.
that they're going to the playoffs. It's just a matter of what happens once April begins. Part of April begins.
And by the way, and I'm not giving Stan Bowman any advice because I don't think he deserved the job. Stan Bowman may want to think about adding a goalie at the trade deadline to compete with Stuart Skinner.
We'll definitely something to look out for sure.
That would be my one thing. All right.
All right.
Division predictions. Nate, who's hoisting the cup?
Okay, so first of all, I've got my cup final prediction.
All right. That's good.
I've got the New York Rangers versus the Nashville Predators.
Why do you guys say things like that?
I'm not trying to jinx you. It's just like
they need wood.
No, so I think it goes 7. I've got Nashville winning it. Sorry, Mike.
That's fine. That is fine.
Yeah, you just would have had a problem if I would have had them win.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with you picking the Preds to win the cup. I've got the Dallas Stars taking on the Florida Panthers looking to repeat.
It'd be such a great series.
I'm going to go with the Dallas Stars. I really just I love the makeup of the Dallas Stars. Everything about them is so smooth. They bring back Matt Duchene. I didn't even get into that. I think everyone's going to be looking up at the Stars.
Nice.
Oh, by the way, a championship going to Dallas. What's up, Mark Halpern?
Hey, a shout out to Mark Halpern.
All right. That'll do it for the season preview episode of the Breakaway Bandits podcast here on the Sports Insanity Network. Check out the podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Check out the website, www.thesportsinsanitynetwork.com. Great blogs, vlogs, planes, trains, and automobiles. You can follow us on Twitter, @SInsanityReal. We are also on Facebook. Podcast is also on Twitter at SAM Breakaway. You can follow us personally on Twitter. I'm at Punmaster Rifkin. Nate.
I'm at Nate Moser Sports.
And you could also follow Nate's new job, Washington Hockey Now, right?
Yes, WashingtonHockeyNow.com. You can follow us also on Twitter at Washington Hockey Now's Twitter, and also we're on Facebook as well. And by all means, talk to us. Shoot us a comment on an article or something, and we'll be sure to talk to you. And that's the thing we love doing on this, and just in general, talk hockey. So I can't wait to get into the cap season and stuff and see how they do. I can't wait to cover this team. 50th anniversary, by the way. So congrats to the organization on that.
Bring back the Eagle.
I mean, they're doing that. They're doing that for some of the game. Do you want to? You mean like permanently, basically?
Yeah, I'm more permanent.
Okay.
All right. That'll do it for this episode of the Breakaway Bands podcast. We'll talk to you all next time. Enjoy the start of hockey season.
Let's go.